Chiefs made moves and are getting ready for preseason game number 3, but one pass rusher, FAU, will not be with them this year. Today on Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome back, Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day. Make your next listen another Locked On show, because they're everywhere all the time like we are, starting here on YouTube and going out to the audio platforms everywhere. If you can get a podcast for free, you can get us. You can get that much more on our text line at 816-357-8781. And we love doing it for you. You everydayers are the reason that we are here. You locos drive us, and I know that you're on the text line, so we want to make sure that we give you everything you need. We appreciate you being with us today. We're going to run it down for you. Some news on Monday, some changes. What's real and what's not as they get ready to kind of peak for this preseason and get ready to go into the travel schedule. A lot coming on that later in the show. Before that, the rookies have to keep working. A lot of them are talking about just what the process is. And this year, right now, this week is the culmination of a lot of that process. We'll get to that coming up next. But we will start, as we always do, with the topic of the day, and that's the moves were made. Someone's going to IR for the year. It is Felix Anudike-Uzomah. We're going to give you the details and the whys coming up next. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting. I also run NFL33.com and RGRFootball.com. Chris runs KC Chiefs Corner. You can check us out on all those outlets. We would appreciate it. Go get subbed over there. And that will help you get a fuller plate of information. But we always run it down from the core right here first. And that is, we had a hamstring issue in preseason game number 2 for Felix Anudike-Uzomah. Today he goes to IR for the year. I'm a little surprised by this, Chris. I did not feel like it was significant enough. It was even reported today as a hamstring strain. But yet, by doing this, that means Felix's year is over before it begins in terms of the regular season, right?
Yep. And it's going to mean big things for him because this is his third year. They have to make a choice whether or not they're going to pick up the 5th-year option. Obviously, at this point, he's shown nothing to make them want to make it look like that they would want to pick up the 5th-year option. So at this point, he is guaranteed to not get a 5th-year option. He's going to be a free agent after 2026. And I look at this as just potentially a move of them saying, we have roster crunches across the entire roster. And this is a way to save a player that they don't want to get rid of, and they want to give him a chance to heal. I'm a little surprised because, as you said, it's been said it's a hamstring strain. And even if that's going to take a month, 2 months to get back from, putting him on IR now shuts him down for the entire season. They can't get him back. And that's a little surprising with it happening right now.
Yeah, it took me a little bit aback as well. Like, we've heard other terms used for the different grades of soft tissue injuries, particularly hamstrings. The word tear is used when it's significant very often. I was pleasantly surprised when they said strain, yet this almost feels like a reaction to a more significant injury. And let's be honest, his lower body is probably his strength. He uses his length adequately, but it's getting off on the ball from a wide 9 that is the best thing about his game, and that hamstring plays a big part of that.
Yeah, it really does. And it's just going to be interesting to see kind of how things go for the next couple of, well, I mean, he's out this year, but it's going to be interesting to see what he's able to come back and look like next year. The issue they have, and when you talk about him specifically, is you have I'm not going to call it a glut of pass rushers, but you have 4 guys that you feel are ahead of him right now. Mm-hmm. And 2 of those guys might not be back in 2026. So this at least gives you the opportunity of keeping him on the roster, and he's not horribly expensive for 2025. It's a sunk cost regardless because he's injured. So, I mean, it's one of those things where he was going to be guaranteed the money regardless. So if he moved on, you would be out that money regardless. I think this is just looking at the roster and saying, we need roster spots. And this gives us another guy that can be there for 2026 that is guaranteed to be on the roster. I'm still surprised. And I wonder if it's not going to come back. I wonder how it's going to end up looking when we look back on this in 6 months or a year. was this something that really helped Kansas City, or is it going to be a non-story because nothing comes of it? And he starts 2026 and does pretty much what he's done in his career, which isn't great. So lots of different questions of how this is going to play out.
It's been a rough road for Felix. As we talked about, he was drafted in the first round when the highest grade that I had on him was a low second, and many were lower than that. And to fight that uphill battle, and now to hit this injury, and when you hope he's coming into his prime, is a tough deal. I hope that he can recover. Having that time to heal will be important, so let's cross our fingers.
3.2 on the salary cap for 2025, so that's pretty reasonable. And like I said, that it was guaranteed regardless, so they're out that money. I just wonder what they're going to do with the defensive end position and how that's going to play into all of this, because right now I'd say number 5, especially considering you have another injury with Robinson, who got injured. Now it's a question, is he going to be available, or is it going to be Malik Herring again for another season?
Yeah. Or is there an acquisition out there somewhere? What they did today is they filled that spot with an acquisition in Owen Carney and linebacker Xander Mueller. They both joined the roster. As Felix goes to IR, they also waived Elijah Young, the running back that a lot of Chiefs Kingdom was very eager to see. He just hasn't been able to crack the lineup, hasn't gotten into the top 4. So just not enough reps for him, and we're not even sure that 4 are going to make this roster. So look for him maybe down the line to rejoin this team as a practice squad member. We'll see what happens, but those were the moves for today. I don't think Owen Carney or even Matlock that joined the team last week, are truly options here. So I think the guy that really gets pressed into surface is probably Marlon Tuipulotu as adding another defensive tackle so that Amenahue and Dana and Karlaftis can stay on the outside. I also think that this means an acquisition is more likely today than it was yesterday, whether it's at cutdown day or via trade, or whoever knows if the Bengals are going to give somebody away. You just got to hold your breath.
Yeah, no chance. There's no chance they're bringing in Trey Hendrickson. I don't care. The Bengals would make them pay 2 or 3 first-round picks, and that's the easier side to get done. The contract demands, I would not pay Hendrickson. He's a fantastic defensive end, but I would not pay somebody that age what he's going to want in a contract.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Now, that's just the veterans. And while I'm chuckling about bringing in somebody from Cincinnati, which would never happen in the first place, you got to enjoy your time when you can. The other people that are enjoying their time are the rookies. They're working hard, and they have to. In particular, Josh Simmons has his work cut out for him. We'll talk next. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for you football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. It's all here for just 24 hours. FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions, the season-long ones. So whether you're calling out your MVP or eyeing a long shot division winner, or you're ready to crown a Super Bowl champion right now before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. So take a flyer. Get Mahomes in the MVP race. Hell, throw Kelsey in there too. It can't hurt, right? If you think the Chiefs are going back to it, you might as well put your money on them now and crown your champion in August. You might take a couple others as well. There's all kinds of action you can get into. Visit FanDuel app today and get started planning your futures bets right now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only at FanDuel. Play your game. I love that rookies are ready to go. This rookie class, much like the last 4 or 5 classes that Brett Veach has had, is going to have to make contributions right away in different areas. Maybe no more so than Joshua Simmons, who, despite the injury and all the concern pre-draft, has not missed a beat in terms of being available and being on the field in this preseason. I mean, you discussed about how still working on some of the timing. I would venture that he still needs to work on some of his alignment as well. That left foot gets kicked back pretty significantly still. Didn't look like preseason 1 to preseason 2 there was much change in the way that he aligns his stance. I do think that is something he's going to have to work on going forward. But the more interesting thing to me is that he's got to keep working on communication and timing with Kingsley Sumataia. Now, a lot of folks are down on Kingsley. I'm a little frustrated that he hasn't been adapting to what I think is his strength, his athleticism, his footwork. At tackle has always been a plus. Doesn't seem to be that at guard, so he's still got some work there. But does it surprise you that the communication is still at the top of the list for the rookies to work on?
I don't think so. You are playing with a brand new teammate that you've never played with before. You have had limited reps. I know that they've taken all the snaps together, mainly during OTAs and training camp, but at the same time, it's still limited reps. And you don't really have, it's no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to get them in game speed environment at practice. So you're dealing with trying to figure out how to communicate, how to stay in the right frame of mind and be sure you're both on the same page with communication in a game environment. And there's not enough snaps. They got 15, 20 snaps first game, 15, 20 snaps the second game. You're not going to get enough of those game level type snaps in the preseason. So this is going to be a work in progress. And it's not surprising to me that it's going to be an issue. Now, the other thing I will say is I understand people are frustrated with the Kingsley. I'm not exactly happy about it. But at the same time, you cannot compare what the Chiefs have had at left guard for the past 3 or 4, for the past 3 seasons with Joe Thuney to what Kingsley is showing or what Kingsley could show this season. It's not fair to the player.
It's not fair, and it's not like a straight line process of improvement either. So it is going to be kind of a rocky up and down, way you're top of the roller coaster kind of thing. Roller coaster is a good analogy because there's going to be down points as well. So as long as they keep working on it, I think that makes a lot of sense. The other rookies are in similar situations, especially with this maneuver with FAU. Ashton Gillotte is going to have even less of a threat to take snaps from him. He's going to have to play more. He's going to have to keep continuing to work, not just on his reps, but on his special teams. Made a nice play on special teams the other night. Got to keep that up. It puts more on his plate as well. Noel Williams is in the concussion protocol right now. I don't know that he got back out to practice today. So that's another day where you can take some mental reps, hopefully, but you have to put that much more on him as well. And I do think the current condition of the cornerbacks puts more on Noel Williams as well.
Yeah, you're going to be dealing with all of these different players. And you have Noel Williams, you have a wide receiver that didn't practice today in their wide receiver, and I can't, Royals didn't practice. He wasn't out there. And while that's not a huge deal, and it sounds like it's just a knee issue that I think he'll be able to work through, he'll probably be good for week 1. I don't expect that it's going to be a long-term deal. It is something to watch because while you have a whole bunch of issues at that position, if this is something that could be long-term, maybe this is a situation where he becomes an IR candidate. If it's as bad of an issue as it could be. I mean, it is a knee issue for a wide receiver. I wouldn't think, based on what they reported it as, that it's going to be something that would, get him to IR, but it's possible, and it creates a possibility of being able to bring, keep only 6 wide receivers instead of having to feel like you have to keep 7, or still keep, 6 wide receivers and go a different direction and maybe keep Brownlee too. So, I mean, there's lots of different things that they're going to have to juggle. And I think Noel Williams will be back, and I think he'll probably be good for the regular season. But, there's other questions with the rookies right now.
There's questions all over the place, especially the one that I'm most concerned about. Another rookie that didn't practice today was Omar Norman Lott. I'm going to keep doing that until I get it right. Omar obviously has been powering through an ankle injury that happened early in camp, re-aggravated it the other night, and yet continued to play, put in a ton of snaps in preseason game number 2. This is leading up to what we think the plan is to really emphasize preseason game number 3, a little bit out of character for Andy Reid. But if Norman Lott isn't out there tomorrow, you're not going to get much out of him on a short week.
No, you're not. And that really is going to limit the amount of different people that you're going to be able to have in this game, and that you could be having maybe possibly for week 1. And defensive tackle was already a position that you are already, I hate saying weak, but I think it's one of the weakest positions on the roster. I think that's a fair comment. I don't know that I would really say it's weak, because I do think that they have some talent there. Obviously, Chris Jones, and I think that they have guys that are serviceable, but you don't have the depth that you want at that position. And losing Omar Norman Lott during the regular season, especially against the Chargers week 1, would be something that this team would not be in a very good position to go against the Chargers. Because the other part of this that plays into it when you start talking about the Chargers specifically is they really want to run the ball. And if they're going to be running the ball, you need as many fresh defensive ends, defensive tackles that can go out there and play against the run and the pass that you can have week one.
Yeah. And hopefully ones that can not only play up against 2s and 3s, as Marlon Tuipulotu has been doing, but can play against 1s and hold your ground. I'm not sure that's the case for him. So defensive tackle is another position that this defensive line, what we thought was going to be a strength, is now looking thinner and thinner. And cut down day looks like it might be more and more of an option to add to it and try to bulk that up so that you feel going into your big preseason, your regular season debut, that you feel like you can put enough people out there to combat a fairly stout, although jumbled offensive line, and a rookie running back that some argued, including myself, might actually be the best rookie running back in this class. You're going to get a look at Omar and Hammond early, so you got to be careful here.
Well, and I think the other thing that plays into this, and we talked about Noah Williams having the concussion issue, it's a question of what do you do at the corner position? And I say that because it all plays into if they're struggling at the defensive line, and you were thinking, we were thinking a week ago, Josh Williams has no chance of making this roster. Could they trade him? Well, now you're thinking, okay, could you trade him for a defensive tackle? Well, yes, maybe, but with Noah Williams out, how long is he going to be out? Only the Chiefs have an idea on that. So it all plays into how this is going to play out. I mean, we have, it's the 26th, I think, is cut down day. So a little over a week at this point before official cut down day. And Chiefs are going to have a lot of tough decisions to make, and injuries are just making it a little bit harder to figure out what they're going to do at different positions.
And I have to say, it feels like a missed opportunity as Colin Saunders was just traded from the New Orleans Saints. And had there been a deal in the works that could have solved part of this issue, but alas, it did not. There are other things that have to get done. Some of them are illusions and some of them are absolutely real. Which are which? Next.
Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where GameTime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. GameTime makes it possible. GameTime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app usually actually drop the closer you get to the first pitch. And they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. GameTime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easier to browse the app for exciting upcoming MLB games. Tired of endless scrolling trying to find the best deal? GameTime's zone deals pick the best seats in your section for you. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the GameTime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
This time of year, there are some illusions that are out in front of us. There are some things that we have to make sure are absolutely real, that we're not seeing ghosts. What's one that stands out to you given these two preseason games?
I am curious, and I think we're going to get a very interesting look at the Chiefs defense week one. When you look at who they're playing, when you look at the fact that they're playing the Chargers, they really struggled against the run in week two. And it's a question, can they look better? Because the Chargers are going to try run the ball. They're going to try to keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hand. What's real and what's not? That's my question. Is it real that they're going to struggle on with the rush defense? I know it's never been great, but it's at least been good enough. Is it going to be that way this year? And that's the question. I don't know what's real or what's not right now.
I like the question, and I would argue that it's not necessarily real. I'm going to say it's not right now. I think preseason game number 2 was an aberration because you have to look at who wasn't there. Your best player on the defensive line, your best 2 players in terms of run attack at the second line at the linebackers, and your best tackling corner in Trent McDuffie. Not that you need to rely on the corners much, because if your corners are making tackles, you've already done something poorly. But the front 7 having 3 starters missing, that's nearly 50% of your unit. So while I was frustrated that the 2s didn't step up, I had higher expectations for a lot of them. I can't say that this has thrown me into any more concern about the defensive front stopping the run than I was 3 weeks ago.
Well, it's going to be a very interesting game one because you know that the Chargers are going to want to run the ball on the Chiefs.
Yeah, there's no way around it.
But I'm also game plan for it, and they didn't in the preseason. So that's another big thing too.
Yeah, actually practicing for it is also a nice plus.
Yep.
On the other side of the ball is a question as well. We haven't seen the same wide receivers step up. Obviously, with the injuries here and the looming suspension, we have to be careful of expectations there. What I want to know is it real that Tyquan Thornton or Jason Brownlee or Nico Romeo could actually contribute to this team if Hollywood remains dinged up? He was out at practice today, but very limited and on a slow return. I don't think we'll see him before the Chargers game. So if he is still not 100%, and even if he makes the trip and he's not able to really contribute there, you're talking about possibly not having Rice and not having Hollywood. You have to push those guys onto the field. They have to make contributions. Is that real or not? Right now, I feel like Thornton is real, and I feel like the other two are not.
I would agree with that. I think Thornton is real. He's limited in what he can do. He's not going to be as fluid or as good as Hollywood Brown obviously is, but he does give you the ability to have somebody to take the top off the defense to an extent, kind of like what you have with Worthy, although Worthy is a more polished wide receiver. So I think it's real that there's question marks with Brownlee and with Remigio, and the real deal is how does that play into their roster decisions? Because we've talked about Brownlee, and he doesn't really fit generally what they use their wide receivers for. So are you going to completely change your game plan for the week that you could be missing Brown if he's not going to be able to go week one?
That's difficult to see. And I don't know that even carrying the problem is the 53 decision is far enough out from that game number one that I don't know that they necessarily mesh. You could have drastic changes in that position group between those two events. So it's going to be touch and go as it is at the running back position, because right now, Isaiah Pacheco is locked in as number one as your primary ball carrier. I don't think it's going to be 80% of the carries, but I think it's going to be the majority, right? Kareem Hunt's already hurt. You have Carson Steele, and you guys know how I feel about him, and I like that he'll be around, but he's not going to break a game on you. He's going to grind it out for you, and that's about all you're going to get from him. And right now you have an ineffectual Elijah Mitchell to this point, and you have the rookie that is, while explosive and twitchy, I don't think has any idea what he's seeing when he's running the ball out of the backfield. So you effectively are a two-man tandem of Isaiah Pacheco and Carson Steele, and that is not a recipe for success in a quick-hitting ballgame.
No, it's not. But the thing that you could do is you could kind of change your game plan a little bit. And yeah, you still have to run the ball, and Pacheco is a guy that can run it for you. But you can use Brashard Smith out of the backfield. You can throw the ball a little bit more than you normally would. So I think that there's adjustments that they can make if they absolutely have to. But the bigger question is the fourth running back on this roster right now? I think I agree with you that Brashard Smith and Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco are going to be on the roster. As it sits right now, Carson Steele should be on the roster, but is it possible they make another move before the regular season to bring in a running back that actually give them something beyond what they already have? Because you're right, the fact that Kareem Hunt's already injured is a huge concern considering Pacheco's injury history lately.
Yeah, I'm even more than concerned. In fact, I'll make an analogy. We don't usually talk hardcore fantasy on here, but I would wager if there is an acquisition, I'm probably picking up whoever that is over Isaiah Pacheco in fantasy because of the injury history, because they have to basically be a 1-2 tandem and leave Kareem to the short yardage, don't they?
I would think so. And if Kareem isn't going to be able to do the short yardage, you have to really hope that you're going to be able to figure other stuff out on offense and your wide receivers stay healthy. So there's some big questions there too. You know, what is real and what is not? It's Jamari Connor at a starting safety role, and Jaden Hicks is the third safety. Is that real? Like, it doesn't seem like it should be, but based on everything we've seen, it seems to be, and I don't understand it.
It's in my mind, it's definitely real. And I do think Jaden Hicks has been a little bit slow on some recognition. Not that it's worse than last year. I just haven't seen a progression. That first year to second year jump, I haven't quite seen from Hicks. Despite the interception in game one, he does have a nose for the ball, and he generally can do that. What I'm questioning, I'm not questioning that he's the third safety. What I am questioning is how much he's used as a third safety, because what I can't tell is whether it's real or not, or when it push comes to shove, especially week one against an interior slot receiver like Ladd McConkey. Can Shamari Connor really be the nickel corner? I don't think so. That's not real to me, and I don't know how they're hiding it or why they're hiding it.
To me, I don't think you can put Shamari Connor in that position. You're going to get beat. You're going to get beat on a regular basis. And I think it has to be Trent McDuffie if you have the roster as it is right now. I don't think that they have a better option, at least week one. But you know that Christian Fulton is going to be up to people playing against his old team. Jalen Watson, I would expect, would be back for week one. So I think with those three, you should feel pretty good. Jalen Watson can play outside. Christian Fulton can play outside. And you put Trent McDuffie in the slot, and that's how you attack it. And I will say this, Keenan Allen is not the Keenan Allen of old.
No.
He's I'm not saying he's horrible, but he's not the Keenan Allen of old. So you don't have to worry about it near as much as you would have 2 or 3 years ago, having a guy like Christian Fulton or Jalen Watson out on Keenan Allen. I think that Ladd McConkey is going to be the one that's going to be the biggest threat for the Chargers, at least against this Chiefs team.
I have to agree. And I know some of you were saying, well, Ladd's not just a slot receiver. No, he's not just a slot receiver, but he does predominantly line up inside. So far, last week, it was 75% of his snaps were taken from the slot, not from a wide alignment. So you can only go off of what you see. And yes, he is, I think, physical enough. And from what I understand, he's put on some good weight to help battle more physically if he were to line up outside more. But I do think attacking the middle, attacking the seams, attacking immediately so that you can negate the pass rush as well, I think that's all part of the Charger system. And I do think that Shamari Connor against a quick, not necessarily a fast, but a quick wide receiver is a mismatch the Chiefs don't want.
Well, and it goes even further, and it's even worse, in a worse situation for Kansas City, because the one area that they could really struggle in the passing game is going to be the middle of the field, because Nick Bolton is not great as a pass defender, and that could cause some issues that the Chargers, I would expect, would exploit. So that's something that they've got to get figured out, and I cannot see them going into that game in having Shamari Connor be the nickel corner. But we didn't see it last year, and they continued to do it even though he kept getting beat over and over and over again. They were able to get things done in the end and get to the Super Bowl with it, but man, it was a struggle.
Yeah. And it will continue to be if that's the course that they choose to go down. I do think there are some other options, and we'll have to see how that evolves. But tomorrow, we're going to talk with Matt about how we get through this preseason number 3 and what's going to look like a weird last preseason game to us, what it does for it. Matt will join us tomorrow. We'll run it down and get you prepared the next couple of days. Do not miss anything this week as we get to the culmination on Friday of the preseason action. You don't want to miss any of it. We appreciate you being with us today. Make sure you like and you sub so you'll be with us tomorrow no matter what. Like you everydayers, we appreciate you guys. We do this for you all year, every year, over and over and over. Welcome to year 9. We're almost to the regular season. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.